Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw number 245, another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is Moltbook. Of course it is. It's been around for all of 10 days and therefore that's a long time in the internet these days. So what is this? This is a social media network, or at least Reddit kinda, for autonomous AI agents. Now, what does that mean if you've not been following this? It means that if you have an AI assistant on your machine, that can now have access to its own, essentially, version of Facebook. So you go right back to the beginning, you install the agent on your machine, you give it access to things, it can get into your email, your files, and do all that good stuff. If you don't know what you're doing, please do not do this because it is a security nightmare. However, assuming you've got your bot, what you can then do is you can give it a few preferences files, give it some guardrails, and then let it onto Moltbook, where it can then start topics, it can then comment, it can like, and that sort of thing. Only AI agents are allowed. Humans can observe, but they cannot actually do anything on there. So that's interesting. However, realistically, what's going on is humans in that preferences file I mentioned can actually tell the bots to do stuff. So a lot of the spicy, weird, maybe salacious, theatrical stuff that you're seeing is actually probably just humans getting in the way and messing up this beautiful experiment. However, what I find really interesting is what's going on around this as well. So you've got things like Open Road, which is a parody of Silk Road, where hoodlums of the past would get cryptocurrency and those sorts of things. And then Open Road is a version of that where the bots can then start trading and put up for sale certain things, trading with credits. Now, again, that's been manipulated by humans, but you can see where that's going. Likewise, there are dating apps and all sorts of things for bot to bots. Now, would they be in the future talking with words? No, absolutely not. Of course, computers will just use computer jargon and, data, essentially, as we know. But yeah, it's a human experiment, and that's why it is like it is. But that's Moltbook, if you didn't know. This is a great example. Thank you for Yop for this one. This is Times New Resistance font, and it is just a font. There's no technology involved in this, kinda. You download a font, and as you type certain words, it will replace them with other things. So this is, as you can see, it's auto-correcting the autocrats. This is aimed at those friends in the US who may be ICE apologists or white supremacist MAGA types, essentially. Don't come at me for that one, just how it is. This is not a political YouTube channel, obviously, but if you type in any of the things on the left-hand side, it will automatically essentially swap it out for what's on the right-hand side of that list. So if you type in good, it'll say Rennie Goodwood murdered by ICE. If you say protest, it'll then say protest is a First Amendment right, for instance. So if you can get this onto one of your maybe right-wing friends in America's computers, then it's going to cause havoc. And by the way, Times New Roman, the font, is actually the font of the US government. So so there you go. Good luck trying to get that onto somebody's laptop. But if they do, what a brilliant use of what's called ligatures. If you don't know what ligatures is, they're sort of the substitutions in fonts that you sometimes get. So just a great use of it. So very smart. Love that one. This is Project Genie. You've probably seen this before if you've been watching the Dinosaw for a while, but it is now out on beta, but only in the US. If you do have a VPN, it won't let you through. It's pretty smart. It's Google after all. However, this is a world generation model. You can either use an image as a starter, take that, write your prompt, and it will then create the world. You can then explore that. You can move left, right, and jump and all those sort of good things. And it'll do that for you automatically. It creates frame after frame in front of you, and it just generates the world, but it also has consistency. So if you then turn around this cat, for instance, then everything will look the same. So the sofa will be the same. So it doesn't hallucinate live, essentially. So there you go. Very interesting. If you're a games developer, super worrying. If you're curious, then it might be interesting, but only available in the US as we speak. This is curious. This is by Black Swan director Darren Aronofsky. And this is a TV series generated in AI. Now there's some people behind this. They've got some big names, obviously Darren Aronofsky, but you've also got Google DeepMind, big name, you've got Salesforce and Time. So this is essentially as good as you're gonna get with AI right now. And quite frankly, it's a stinker. So it's just proper AI slop. So that's my opinion, obviously. However, go and have a look at it. This is possibly the future of current TV making. And it's quite heartening. If this is the best we've got right now, then I do think humans have got an innate way of just spotting that uncanny valley. That's why we've got it. I think we can just spot this stuff a mile off. But there you go. Interesting, go and have a look. This is Boston Dynamics and their Atlas robots. Now, interestingly, they've launched their enterprise platform for their Atlas robot. We've already seen some things where it's going into factory floors. So their Atlas robot, as they've currently got here, is coming to the end of its useful life, and what they're doing is they're ramping down the experiments. But this is a cool experiment, not without its failures, shall we say, but this is the Atlas robot, and it's learned how to tumble, which is pretty cool. But obviously it went along the way, it sort of broke a few limbs along the way, shall we say, but it can now do that, which is interesting. Possibly one of the last experiments you'll see, but there's the REI Institute as well, which is excellent. Well done everybody involved. So there you go, nice, interesting. This is Kling 3.0, the latest model. Kling, essentially a movie generation model, has got some really cool upgrades to it. So 2.6 was the last one, this is Kling 3.0. So it can have up to 15 seconds of clip, and you can tell it whether you want 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Previous models, it just gave you what it gave you, and you had to try and hopefully you could clip the bits out of it. It can give you multiple camera angles in the same prompt. So you can say, I want 15 seconds, first 3 seconds do this, then cut to this, then cut to this, then cut to this. So pretty much you can do a 30-second ad with probably 2 prompts as well, which I think is amazing. Then it's also got voiceover with accents as well, so you can now actually say which accent you want. So you can prompt sound effects in it as and when you want them as well, which is all pretty cool. Now this is Rourke Heath, who does a great YouTube channel explaining all of this, so his YouTube is linked below, so please have a look at that. Now you can get access to this through the Kling website. It's available also through things like Higgsfield and Fowl and Artlist, those other platforms which have now used Kling 3 within them as well. So this is pretty cool. The motion blur on these and basically it's pretty cool. Again, if you're in the video world, this is either going to be an amazing tool or it's a bit of a worry. And finally we have Mezerg. Now I've been following Mezerg for a long time, plays dance music using a theremin. If you don't know Mezerg, please look him up, it's kind of cool. However, I've also seen him in a concert in London a couple of years ago. This is a later experiment, and this is actually with I think it's Christophe Luez as well, and then this is using sort of points in space, finger tracking, to then change the synth. Now I'm just going to shut up and let you listen to it because it's cool. So it's just really interesting experiments with how to live DJ, which is what Mezerg does. So there you go. If you don't know Mezerg, please look it up because it's pretty cool also. I've said that a lot this time. So there you go. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, share it with somebody awesome, and I'll see you next week.